And thank you everybody for joining. I'm super excited to be here from the outskirts of Seattle, Washington, connecting with everybody for Teams Nation. Today we have a great session about what's new and what's coming and some of our forward-looking ideas for the Power Platform. Have a great demo, have some great customer stories, and have some great vision videos about how we think Power Platform and Teams fit together. And for all these types of talks, I always like to begin by first explaining why we care so much about low code. And if folks have seen this before, I apologize, but it's just 2 minutes. And I think it's so critical to understand why we think Power Platform and how we think Power Platform plus Teams really is going to transform the enterprise. And it really begins with just a few different numbers. Item number one is there's unprecedented digital demand in every company. There's going to be 500 million new apps built in the next few years, which is more than all the apps built in the last 40 years. This means that companies are looking for ways to transform how they do business. And that means everybody in the entire organization, business users, IT, and developers need to think different in terms of how you actually can meet that demand. Because of that second point, the fact that there's just not enough developers, there's not enough coders out there. There's a 1 million developer shortfall in the United States alone. So with this huge demand, there's not enough supply to actually satisfy it. And that's really a lot of what's contributing to the emergence of these low-code Power Platform tools and things like that. And the third piece is COVID-19, the great lockdown, and all the impact it's had on all of our lives, particularly at work. 42% of folks in the US, 40% plus in Europe are working from home, working remote. And what that means is there's a big push to reimagine business processes and applications and workflows and data in a remote first way, which is where Teams plays a major part. And if we look kind of across all of these to these big changes, the answer really is not to go teach everybody in every company and everybody in university and things like that how to write code. That just doesn't really work. We've tried it for the last 10 years. It can't keep up with the demand, can't respond to super agile, flexible working environments that we're all going through. Instead, we're very focused on turning everyone into a developer with low code. And that's what the Power Platform is all about at Microsoft. Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, all our low code tools to go make it easy to get started, solve your challenges, whether it's understanding data to acting on data, automating it, you can do it with these no code, low code tools from the Power Platform. Power BI, for folks that haven't used it, use other parts of Power Platform, check it out. It's a great, easy way to analyze, understand, and report over your data. Power Apps, great way to go build web or mobile application experiences for standalone or inside of Teams or SharePoint. Power Automates to go create workflow automation, robotic process automation, and really respond to events and take actions in an automated way, whether it's in the cloud or on your local desktop. One of the more exciting ones for us right now. And Power Virtual Agents. Great, easy way to go create chatbots, chat experiences, and conversational agents. And when you think about Microsoft Teams and what you can do with Power Platform, the ability to go launch chat-based experiences is really transformational and one of the places where we see the most innovation from our customers right now. And if we go look at that customer base adopting the Power Platform for something that didn't exist 4 or 5 years ago, it's pretty unbelievable in how many industries and how many countries and how many scenarios we're seeing the Power Platform being adopted. 86% of the Fortune 500 uses Power Apps. 97% of the Fortune 500 uses at least one Power Platform product. So I like to kind of always set that stage before we go jump into some of the more exciting bits, but to really explain why we think low code is so important, what the changes are in the industry, in the market, and for our customers, and kind of what our viewpoint is at Microsoft in terms of what we're trying to achieve, to empower everybody to be a developer, everybody to understand data, everybody to build chat-based experiences. And one of my favorite demos that we have right now is from Coca-Cola in terms of how they use a bunch of different parts of the Power Platform to go wire it together. So I have just a short 5-6 minute demo to show that in action, and it includes some of the new exciting announcements that just came out in the last month for the Power Platform. So let me just get that started.
Coca-Cola is one of the world's most recognized brands, being in the market for over 100 years and employing over 700,000 employees. And like so many other businesses, they were impacted by COVID-19 over the past 12 months. And what they've realized is that they've had to go respond to fluctuating and changing demand for Coca-Cola concentrate from their bottlers and partners, to go update demand from a week to week or month to month basis in a way they've never had to do it before. And what's interesting is that at first this was done by having humans receive emails with spreadsheets and enter it into their SAP systems. But with Power Platform, they were able to digitize, bring structure, automate, and improve this entire end-to-end process. Let me walk you through it with a demo. Coca-Cola started by understanding the process that they were already running. And to do that, they used Process Advisor. Process Advisor makes it easy to easily see what all of your employees are doing as part of a process. In the case of Coca-Cola, we can see that it starts by opening Outlook, opening a new request email, and downloading an Excel file, the most common way for businesses to communicate. And what they've done is they had humans who would then take that Excel file, evaluate whether or not it should be approved, and then enter it into an SAP system, which could take a couple minutes for each and every request. And this entire process would run for close to 7 minutes, which would introduce chance for errors and also build a large backlog when humans weren't working. And this entire end-to-end could be easily understood down to the timing, the branching, and the decisioning based on Process Advisor. And Process Advisor is something we announced last year, but have a whole bunch of great updates in 2021 Wave 1 release to improve the task recording, the understanding, and the AI that powers your process understanding. Once Coca-Cola had this process mining complete, they were able to go build a Power App. And this Power App is what they would use instead of emails and Excel spreadsheets to enter those requests to change the concentrate management delivery schedule. And this Power App is the standard, what you see is what you get experience to go build out those application experiences. And if I launch this mobile app here in the browser, we can see it has a great, delightful UI, which engages their employees and captures the Coca-Cola brand and makes it so you can easily capture a request from a bottler for a particular batch number, supports things like scanning QR codes or barcodes, and you can just enter in things like how many concentrate qualities that you want to go update. And you can see that the app is incredibly responsive, basically refreshing as I type and having this dial to show the level of exposure. And in this case, I can say COVID-19 is the reason for the request, and then go click submit. And this entire application replaces an error-prone and unstructured process and can go even trigger approvals when the request is particularly large. And if I go back to the Power App Studio, it's that great Canvas authoring environment that so many of our customers already use today. Now that they've had this Power App authored, they were able to go trigger each of these requests to enter them into that SAP system. And to do that, Coca-Cola turned to Power Automate, and in particular, Power Automate Desktop. So I've now opened here the Power Automate Desktop client, and we can see that this is an easy way to go record UI-based automations locally. And every Windows user is now entitled to use Power Automate Desktop based on our most recent announcement. And this allows you to go capture individual steps, and it can be simple or incredibly complex. In the case of Coca-Cola, they have several things called subflows, which allow them to carve out repeatable, reusable UI automation elements, which they can then invoke over time. And what this particular flow has done, this desktop flow, is it's going to log into SAP, is going to check whether or not the bottler is eligible for an extension or a change in the concentration delivery request. If it's approved, it's then going to create the request and submit it into the system. And this is going to run entirely on a backend system in response to an event triggered by that Power App. And to really show that in action, let me just show what the SAP trigger looks like inside of that remote machine. So as we can see on this remote machine, the Power Automate Desktop client is launching the SAP client and taking that same information from the Power App and entering it into each of the individual fields and the individual records. And these new advanced capabilities for improved SAP UI automation are part of our 2021 Wave 1 release announcements. So it's a better and more intelligent way to automate these advanced enterprise systems across the board. And as we can see, it just quickly cycles through all of this in the background. And this is happening on my remote machine in the cloud, making it easy for you to potentially run large-scale server farms, which help your employees scale, be more productive, and more efficient. And the way that that desktop flow was triggered was through great integration inside of the Cloudflow infrastructure in Power Automate. And what this allows our customers to do, like Coca-Cola, is that in response to an event, so whenever one of those extension requests are created inside of Dataverse, it will go trigger this automation, which does various steps in the cloud, like take advantage of the new secure parameters and key vault integration inside of Power Automate to grab things like the SAP user and password information. And then we'll run that Power Automate desktop that we just saw in that remote machine with all the inputs from the Power App as well as from Dataverse. And you can see there's a large number of parameters here. So very sophisticated workloads can go run through this Cloudflow to desktop flow connection point. And of course, it finishes off by posting information back to Microsoft Teams so everybody else in the organization can know when one of these requests were approved. And as you can see across Power Apps and Power Automate here, there's a bunch of brand new capabilities which make it easy to go from a simple web or mobile-based application all the way to integrating with and automating your most advanced and core enterprise systems.
And I really like that demo because it kind of shows like the big complexity you can do with Power Platform, which then folds really nicely into Microsoft Teams. And when we talk about Power Platform and Teams, the idea of building applications or chatbots or sharing data or automations is really at the heart of how we think we can transform what the remote work and what the collaborative experience looks like inside of Microsoft Teams. And we really think these two products and these two categories are super complementary and very, very good when integrated and used together. And really kind of this better together idea is core to how we think about this space. And for Power Platform and Teams, it's something that's consistent across every single one of the Power Platform products we're focused on. And we think this is part of a much bigger transformation about how everybody works when it comes to office or information work or even field and remote work. And I really think it's consistent across all the Power Platform products. And kind of like an imagination video that we created about Power Platform and Teams together. I'm just going to play that real quick, just a minute or two, to really show kind of how we think it can become so seamlessly integrated and where we're seeing a lot of customers do really interesting things.
More than ever, businesses are looking for ways to be agile and save time and money. Microsoft Teams is a rich platform for work, offering so much more than just chat, meetings, and calling. With Power Platform in Teams, it's also a place where anyone can develop simple yet powerful low-code solutions that simplify work right within Teams. Power Apps is a low-code app-building platform that lets you easily create, edit, and publish apps directly to Teams, allowing you to simplify work across any device. Now, anyone can benefit from AI-powered natural language capable bots made right in Teams. Power Virtual Agents makes chatbots easy to create and scale across your organization. You can automate processes like approvals, reminders, and even robust enterprise-grade workflows using the Power Automate app. And turn your insights into action with a new Power BI app that lets you quickly find, share, and create data visualizations right within Teams. With Teams and Microsoft Power Platform, your opportunities to simplify work are endless, making it easier than ever to bring people together and achieve more.
And one of the most commonly requested features for Power Apps and Teams, which we've just very recently announced and released, is this concept of organization-wide applications. So in the past, when you use Dataverse for Teams and Power Apps inside of the Teams shell, you would build applications inside a team which are accessible only to other people inside that team. But what customers wanted to do is go build an app and share with a broader collection of people outside of that team so they can pin it as a personal app and have it show up on the left rail or to go publish to the entire organization or enterprise. And for that, you can now do it with this new capability. So you can share with colleagues, share with anyone else inside your company without having to go back to make.powerapps.com or go to the standalone experience to go publish and create it. So a really rich experience for a lot of those bigger, broader applications. And this really was a key stepping stone for us because this also has enabled us to do all kinds of new templates and solutions inside the Teams store that are built on top of Power Apps. And these Power App templates are really easy to deploy. They're one click, they're configured, they get installed inside a team. And what happens is all the users of that application will still store that data back in the originating team's Dataverse. So that way it's easy to go build those team-specific or organization-wide applications. And the reason they're built on Power Apps is because it makes it super easy to go extend, customize, and tweak for each company. And what we see people do is they add branding, they change the workflows, they change the processes to match what they actually need locally inside of their company. And kind of this combination of really easy to get started for a targeted scenario, but then customizable for what you need locally, that's the magic of the Power Platform. Because no application, when it comes to workflow and process, just works off the shelf. Every application needs a tweak and a customization and an adaptation to match what you need locally for your company. Power Platform makes that super easy. And so 5 of the templates that we already have available today are milestones, bulletins, issue reporting, employee ideas, and inspection. We try to be not very creative with the naming so that the naming is pretty descriptive about what you can do with it. One of my favorites is employee ideas. This idea that you can actually kind of have a bottoms-up, grassroots, democratized innovation approach within the company, powered by Dataverse and Teams together with Power Apps. And if we go look at some other ones that we see customers using, like T-Mobile has a great inspection application inside of Power Apps and Teams, and those types of things. So take advantage of device capabilities, take advantage of Teams collaboration, and take advantage of Power Apps for a highly customized experience. And in addition to these 5 templates we already have, we actually have 5 more templates that are arriving before summer. Profile Plus, which is a very deluxe way to go look at organization chart, boards, to have communication and collab, and then discussions as a great way to go have little localized micro conversations, plus 2 more that we haven't announced yet are all coming for this summer. And these 10 templates together will give you 10 great ways to get started, to get a bunch of value with the Power Apps and Dataverse for Teams that already come with your Teams licenses. And one of the great customer stories we have right now out there right now is with Office Depot. So let me just play a quick video showing kind of how they've used Power Apps, Teams, and Dataverse for Teams to transform a lot of their common basically work tasks due to COVID.
With the COVID-19 experience, we worked from home starting in March, and we were on Teams all the time. So I felt it was time to bring some of the apps to Teams. I set up a development platform in Teams where I develop all my apps. We're trying to work very lean and efficient. By building our applications on the Power Platform in Teams, it helps us collaborate a lot better. It also helps us save money over having to contract third-party vendors to create applications for us or to license third-party apps. Creating them in-house very quickly on the Power Platform, it's low code. Sometimes even the departments create them themselves with guidance from our department. They get the things delivered quickly and efficiently and for a lot less money, saving company hundreds of thousands of dollars. For example, the payroll action form was a faxed process, and we have a lot of stores, and if an employee's time card didn't match up and they had to do a quick fix before paycheck time, and in some states there's regulatory penalties if you don't do it within a time period, Getting those faxes signed off was very difficult for the user, a lot of man hours. So we developed an application that did this for them. It helped workflow notify people that they have approvals to do, and we're able to push this app out to all the stores. That saved us a lot regulatory-wise, and it solved the problem in man hours. We work with the business partners to collaborate, test, use all of the software development lifecycle in Teams, and then we deploy the app. Now with Project Oakdale in Teams, I see endless possibilities.
And although we make it super easy to go create these solutions inside of the Power Platform and distribute them inside of Teams, the thing I like to always call out is easy does not mean insecure. So there's amazing security controls, compliance guarantees, and governance experiences in the Power Platform Admin Center, the Center of Excellence Toolkit. So to make it so it's really straightforward to empower everybody to create amazing solutions that reimagine work inside of Teams, while at the same time governing it and ensuring that it's secure. And we had a bunch of announcements over the last month and a half or so related to these capabilities. Things that were very commonly requested, like endpoint filtering, so you can actually restrict the particular URLs or IP ranges that a connector is connecting to. So you can give people permission to use a SQL connector, but only for a set of servers and not another set of servers. We also announced tenant isolation. So it's now possible to prevent people from using identities in your tenant in any other environment, and to also create trusted relationships between tenants so that you can't allow users to go back and forth if you're, say, working with a partner, or if you are a partner servicing a customer. And this strong tenant isolation control helps one of the very common complexities people run into around Azure Active Directory tenancy. Additionally, for data loss prevention policies with connectors, you can now block or allow individual actions on the connector. So this means, for example, you could allow read-only operations from Twitter while blocking any write operations inside that policy. And that way you can go empower everybody to be creating these amazing solutions, but without having to worry about it going and connecting or doing things that you don't want it to do. And last but not least, we also shipped a bunch of great tenant-wide analytics experiences. So it's easier than ever to understand how many apps are being used, who's using them, where they are, what data sources they connect to get a really great aggregate view from a control panel for your whole company. And this is actually bringing, for the experts out there, a lot of the capabilities in the Center of Excellence Toolkit and putting it mainstream and mainline inside the Power Platform Admin Center. So those are four big announcements that we've had recently, and something that I'm excited to share as we go look for the rest of the year is for later this year in 2021 is Microsoft Information Protection support. So for data sensitivity, data labeling, to support it going through our connectors, and also to make it so that Dataverse data supports MIP as well, and that includes Dataverse for Teams. So the overarching idea is really we want to go fit the Power Platform controls into all the concepts and capabilities that already exist in the broader Microsoft cloud. So if you feel comfortable managing and governing Teams, then you should feel comfortable managing and governing Power Platform as much as possible as well. So that's a really important aspect of it. And something that we just announced last week is the evolution of our authoring environments for Power Apps. And this is for people that have been on the journey with us for a while for Power Apps. This is a major enhancement. And I'll kind of lay out our plan over the next 12 months and some major milestones to pay attention to. The first thing is, if we look at where we are today, there's three different types of design surfaces when it comes to building apps. There's a Canvas designer, which is how you build standalone Power Apps, or build in SharePoint, or build in Power BI, or in Azure. And then there's a different, simplified and with some really cool Dataverse capabilities, Canvas Designer, that only is available inside of the Teams personal app, which makes it easy to go create new tables or to edit data inside of the Canvas Studio. And then the third one for model apps, which are the data-driven, metadata-driven experiences around forms and views and grids on top of Dataverse, which is used for Dynamics 365 admins as well as standalone Power Apps. So those are the three Canvas and model-driven authoring environments we have today. Well, one thing we just announced is that we now, here on the bottom, have this brand new modern app designer, which makes it easy to have a what you see is what you get, interactive, no build, no publish, no compile experience to build those model-driven applications. And for a lot of users, as you go more deeper and deeper into Dataverse and Dataverse for Teams, you really start to embrace and love this model-driven experience. And so we're very excited to ship this updated modern app designer this month in May, and it really combines all the best elements from all the design surfaces that we have. Live preview, you can drag and drop and edit right inside this experience, and this is a big step to making it easier to use common controls like the Power Apps component framework between Canvas and model driven to make it easier than ever before, and also to start to introduce some Canvas concepts into this app designer. And so this is kind of the big milestone about where we are today. The next big milestone is that we're going to bring together the Canvas designers that are standalone at make.powerapps.com and create.powerapps.com together with the Canvas Studio inside of Microsoft Teams. So those first two items from the earlier slide have collapsed down to a single Canvas designer, which make it incredibly easy to edit Dataverse, to edit cloud flows, to edit your experience inside the studio. And that will ship for Wave 2 2021, which is October of this year. So just 4 months away, we'll have that converged Canvas design surface together with that modern app designer to have a simplified, easier to get started authoring environment. And that's a step towards the Nirvana goal that we've been working on for a couple years now, which is a single Power App Studio, which supports Canvas, model-driven, every type of application, and you can mix and match individual pages. So you can have Canvas for one page and Form-based for another page and use all the great capabilities end to end. And this is going to come out in Wave 1 2022. So about a year from now, a little less than a year from now. This is something that we've been on for a long time, a long journey. And so for people that have been on that with us, thank you for your patience and thank you for all the great feedback to shape us to create such a neat experience. So that's the low-code app authoring environment. But I would be remiss if I didn't also always have the reminder that Power Platform cares deeply for developers and coders and folks that want to, say, drop down to the low level, and that permeates the entire platform. Like that Power Apps component framework I was talking about, that can be JavaScript, TypeScript, React-based components that you want to go embed and integrate in your low-code app. Same thing for Power BI. There's custom visuals where you can write your own code, or something we see a lot of customers do, you can really embrace a full pro dev tool chain that includes Power Platform together with GitHub, together with Visual Studio, together with Azure Services, together with Azure Databases. And this idea of really having no limits and no cliffs as you go build these solutions is so critical to how we think modern enterprise application development will be done, because it's never going to be pro code or low code. It's going to be pro code and low code together. That's how you actually can build the best solutions as fast as possible, and have a bunch of great capabilities in the product to make that possible. And the one I just want to highlight today, because that's something really unique for the Teams environment, which is this idea that you can use Azure API management to build microservices and APIs and custom connectors to use in Power Apps. And these custom connectors hosted in Azure API management are available free of charge for the Power Apps in Teams license. So if you're building a Power App in Teams and you want to use Dataverse for Teams and Azure API management, no additional license is required. So if you've missed that, that's something we've been talking about the last few months. This is a big change, and we're really trying to make it easy to go from Teams to Power Apps to Azure API management, all right inside of that Office license. So I know that was a top request from folks. And when you do that, all kinds of really interesting scenarios open up. And for the last bit, just for the last 1 minute, I just want to really hit something about really where we think we're going to the future. There's 5 focus areas. These are multi-year investments for us, multi-year themes for us. So they're gonna, if it's 6 months from now, if you ask me the top 5 areas, it's probably gonna be the same 5, but it's good to know what we're thinking from a product vision perspective. Number 1 is enterprise trust. We are absolutely committed to make Power Platform the most secure, the most compliant, and the most governable low-code offering in the market. And you want to go win the hearts and minds of admins and IT, because without them, we don't think the low-code revolution is possible. Second is we're very much committed to bring artificial intelligence everywhere. This is things like AI Builder, which make it easy to go build your own models through machine teaching, but also to start to introduce some really exciting things around AI assisted development. And I would say as a teaser, stay tuned for Build, where we have a really big announcement for some amazing AI assisted development scenarios. Number 3 is remote work, which is just what we were talking about today, how Power Platform with Teams is the future of remote and hybrid work. And we think that's going to be critical to how the office functions. So we really care about that one deeply. Item number 4 is this idea of fusion teams, which is bringing together business users, business developers, IT pros, coders, so they can work together on a single project. And this idea of breaking down the silos between disciplines, breaking down the silos between devs and IT and business users is one of the most important cultural changes we think will happen because of low-code, no-code technologies like the Power Platform. And the 5th, final and not the least, is hyper automation. So this idea of really embracing automation with workflows, with Power Automate, with robotic process automation, with chat-based experiences to really transform everything that happens. So just humans are set free and liberated from having to do super manual tasks each and every day. We've done some studies, about 50% of typical office work could be automated with current technology. We want to help people do that. We want to get people time back, have them spend more time thinking about higher level, exciting, creative things. So those are the 5 big areas where we're going. And you'll see a lot of our roadmap and a lot of our announcements over the next couple of years really line up to those 5 things. And if all this is super exciting to you, please go check out more, learn some more about Power Platform, lots of great material, connect with our community for Power Platform. It's one of the best communities I've ever seen. I recognize a bunch of folks on the call today here from that community. So thank you for everything you do, but go check it out. Super helpful, super useful, and just go learn some more about our most recent announcements around the release notes or our blogs. So just thanks a ton for the time again today. I'm really grateful that you joined to learn more about how we can fit together Power Platform and Teams. I hope you have a great rest of the conference, and sorry for running a little bit long. So have a great day.
Okay, thank you very much. Great session. You had a couple of questions in there. I think people were answering them as we went along, so I think that's really good. I stuck a link in there for everybody to go register for Build because I think that'll be exciting. But I don't think, I'm not sure. Yeah, we have got a couple of things in there. Do you want to answer those directly in chat?
Yeah, I can maybe say it like I'll just repeat it back for folks maybe can't see the chat. So one question was for organization-wide apps, where is the data stored? It is stored in the originating team's Dataverse instance. And that way, so if you say I have a team of 10 people and you share it with 1,000, those 1,000 people, all their data goes back to that team with the 10 people. That's the model there. If you go to the powerapps.com, you can create a Dataverse that's not connected to a team and do the same thing. But we really want to keep that team-centric style for building and creating the applications. There was another question from Peter about in an org-wide app, does everyone off the organization has right access to the Dataverse? So I saw Wim pasted some details in the chat, but it is configurable. So by default, only people in the organization, in the Azure Active Directory tenant, can connect to any app that you build. So that's kind of a really important boundary that we use. If you want anyone else to get it, they have to become a guest inside the Azure Active Directory tenant. That's a good way to secure things. And then even within the company, there's high levels of fidelity in terms of data access, as well as metadata access that you can control based on the team that hosts the Dataverse for Teams instance, as well as how you choose to share the data when you publish the app. And that's the link that Wim shared. And let's see. Yeah, and so Chad asked the question, with Azure API management available in Dataverse for Teams, you could essentially break down any barriers designed around the Dataverse for Teams environment, right? I say yes. I say please don't. No, but yes, absolutely. I mean, we knew very well that that was a possibility. So instead of using a SQL connector, maybe people will create a custom API, register with Azure API management, and their custom API will be an Azure function that talks to a SQL database. If you want to do that, you can do it. There's nothing that stops it. And just the big thing with the connectors is we just want to make it so easy and so straightforward and so much easier to govern and secure and things like that, that it's a better choice. But if it works for you, you can put Azure API management and use it for sure. So yeah, so that's kind of yeah. And then so George asked Azure API management and Teams. Can you explain a bit more? And yeah, so what you can do inside a Power Platform is there's a concept of custom connector. So you can register any REST or OData web API with the platform, and then it will show up as a connector right inside of Power Apps and Power Automate and so on for all the users. And to use a custom connector, that's a premium feature. So you have to buy the premium license of Power Platform. However, with this announcement, we've made it so that if you build a Power App which is hosted inside of Teams, you can now include custom connectors on top of Azure API management inside of Teams at no additional charge. And this could allow you, for example, to create a custom API on top of your internal systems or even other SaaS systems or really anything you want, and you can register that up inside the Power App that's hosted inside Teams. And just because our real core thinking is if you want to change how people work, which we think is what's happening with Microsoft Teams and the hybrid work future, if you want to change how people work, you got to have a platform to build line of business experiences for that new way of work. And we think Power Platform's that. So Azure API Management and Dataverse for Teams are two big announcements we've done in the last 6 months, all about simplifying, streamlining that Teams experience. Awesome.
Okay, I think everything else is just some positive reinforcement for you that we loved it.
Great. Really appreciate it. I hope everybody's had a great time at Teams Nation. Thank you, Sharon, for emceeing, and thank you for giving the opportunity.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Charles.